Hello and welcome to The Thread. This is a podcast about my knitwear design journey, all the things I happen to be knitting on the side, and whatever other nerdy tangent I may or may not feel like skipping down this week. My name is Nicole. I'm the nerdy knitwear designer behind Common Thread Fiber, so you can find me on all the socials. I'll put them in the down bar. To new viewers, I say welcome. I'm so glad that you found me. I hope you decide to stick around. And to returning viewers, hi. Happy New Year, even though it's like January 24th. Is it a little late to say Happy New Year? Maybe, but I have been away. So I needed a break. I really did. The holidays took it out of me. There was a lot of travel. I had a great holiday, but it was just a lot of travel. And so I was worn out. So I needed a couple of weeks, close to a month off. And I'm super glad that you're still here and you stuck with me and you were patient. And I really appreciate that. So, just in the vibe of starting slowly, not jumping in with go, 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 and plan all the things, this episode, we're going to talk about two things that I've been working on, like exclusively. We're not going to go into a bunch of knitting plans. We're not going to talk about every single thing I knit in 2023. And we're not going to go through my WIP bin because it's stressing me out. So we are just going to talk about these two projects that are bringing me a great deal of joy. So if that sounds good to you, let's get right into it. So the first one, I talked about it before the holiday break, but I've gotten super far on it and I'm really excited about it. It is my I Am No Man cardigan. So here we are. I am working on the sleeves, which may seem bizarre because you could probably tell the bottom is not yet cast off. Bound off. Cast off? Bound off. Do I even knit? Also, let's move this. Okay. So here she is. I am in love. I may pop in a picture of me wearing it because it is very unwieldy right now. That's the difference between a cardigan and a pullover. A pullover is much easier to show than a cardigan. I'm trying. Struggle bus conductor. Okay, there we go. So you can kind of, that does not look right. Anyway, all right. This is a cardigan that is based on my I Am No Man pullover. So for new viewers, if you don't know, I am a uber nerd, particularly for fantasy, mythology, art, and archaeology. And that's where a lot of my designs come from. So my goal in life is to empower adventurous and nerdy knitters to embrace their inner heroes through fantasy, art, and mythology-inspired knitwear. That's what I do. Tolkien is one of my OG inspirations. I have my Tolkien shrine back here, basically. Like, even that candle is Tolkien inspired. So this is based on a pullover that I designed. I'll pop in a picture, called my I Am No Man pullover. And it is based on that moment where Éowyn absolutely murks the Witch King of Angmar. Now, I Am No Man Cardigan is a working title. Someone suggested to me that this gives Éomer vibes, where the pullover gives Éowyn vibes. And I kind of love that idea. And I'm working on it. So I Am No Man Cardigan is definitely a working title. I've been jokingly calling it I Am No Pullover, but I'm very concerned that name's gonna stick. So there's a history of that. So again, new viewers, I'll pop in a picture of what I'm about to talk about. I have a design that I've been working on called, well, it's called That 70s Hobbit, even though that will not be its final name. But I jokingly called this design That 70s Hobbit, and it just stuck, kind of like Hot for Thorin stuck, which became Hat for Thorin. So I'm a little concerned that if I call this I Am No Pullover, it's gonna stick. And for us friends, it will make sense. It will be our Speak Friend and Enter, just like Hot for Thorin is, or, I mean, That 70s Hobbit is just That 70s Hobbit. But it won't make any sense otherwise, because obviously this is I Am No Pullover because I'm a cardigan, but like, if you don't know the pullover exists, it won't make any sense. So I'm concerned about calling it I Am No Pullover, but I've said that now like 6 times, so I've undone whatever. I've fulfilled the prophecy, if you will. But this cardigan is based on that pullover, and I am absolutely loving it. I knew when I really started wearing my I Am No Man pullover, which is in testing as we speak, It's getting close to the end of testing, actually. That'll be around March. I would love to publish that pattern in March, but I don't know how realistic that is. Some testers might need some more time, which is totally fine. And obviously, I have work to do after a test knit. You know, testers give a ton of feedback. I try my best to take testers' feedback and work on it during the test. That way, any testers who are behind where that feedback came from, they benefit from it. But inevitably, sometimes there's stuff that you just get to when you're in, when you're in formatting or stuff like that. And I wait until the test is over to do all of that. So I definitely have work to do. But we'll see. Maybe March. Maybe. Fingers crossed. We'll see. This cardigan, on the other hand, I can start writing now. And my plan is to start writing this cardigan next week because we are almost done. So, again, I'm trying to it's really hard. Do I just put it on? Should I just put it on? It's on stoppers. Let's see. I feel like I should insert the Benny Hill theme. Heyo! Okay, so it's gonna look a little wonky. First of all, it's not blocked. And second of all, it's on 32-inch cords on the bottom. And I do not have 32-inch hips. I just don't. So, but you can see the top. It's looking good. Oh, I'm so excited. Not to toot my own horn, but toot toot. That was probably not my cutest moment there, but whatever, it's fine. So, unlike the pullover, this cardigan is going to be long sleeves. So, here's what I did. I did not want pooling happening. And this is hand-dyed yarn. So, here's the yarn that I'm using, if I could pick it up. Here it is, actually. Yep. Here it is in the skein. It is Baby Cat Yarns. I know returning viewers are like, of course it is. This is Britta's Austin colorway, which is part of her Heroic palette, which was dyed in tandem with the color that I used for I Am No Man. I believe this might be that color. Oh, you know what? I'm not gonna tell tales out of school. I'm not positive that that's true. So anyway, the Heroic palette from Baby Cat Yarn was dyed not for I Am No Man, but it grew up along the I Am No Man pullover. Britta and I worked on it together. I am obsessed with Britta. I'm obsessed with her yarn. She's my dyer hero, essentially. So this is the Austin colorway from that palette. And the original color is leather. So in the photo that I popped up, that's her leather colorway from Baby Cat Yarns. So this is hand-dyed yarn, and I didn't want pooling. So what I went ahead and decided to do, I knit the first 60 rows on this side, and then I put it on scrap yarn, and I knit the first 60 rows on this side. 60 is not a random number. Well, I still have 20 rows to go here, but it's not a random number. After 60 rows, I start decreasing, because this is going to be long sleeves. Now, I am wanting it to have a bell sleeve, but if I was to go with this, you're talking like a 17-inch bell on my wrist, which I don't have dainty little bird wrists, but that's a really big bell. So, decided to decrease after 60 rows, and I did not want the sleeves to look like they were from different colors of yarn. So, I went ahead and did both of these parts with the same yarns, and then I will finish one sleeve, and I think I'll have enough from these two because I'm alternating skeins. So I think I'll have enough to finish one sleeve and then go back and finish the other. And then I'll have 2 more skeins to finish the body, which I'm probably about 5 inches away from the end of the body. I'm going to do 2 more inches and then split the hem. And so yeah, I'm really excited about this. And it's exactly what I wanted. It's just, it feels so good when you have a design that turns out exactly how you want it. So like I said, it's not completely right because it needs to be blocked. It's on holders. So when it is blocked, it will overlap just a little bit. My goal is to be able to wear this with a shawl pin through it, no buttons, and the cables will go all the way down, and they also go all the way down the side. So yeah, this is my I'm No Man cardigan. It's in Baby Cat Yarns in her Austin colorway, and I'm flying on it. I'm going to start writing it next week, like I said, and it's been my comfort knit. It's bizarre, because I know anybody who's been here for more than 10 minutes has seen me knitting my I'm No Man pullover. I've knit probably 7 different versions of that pullover. I had to rip it out and reknit it and rip it out and reknit it. That pullover was my first garment pattern, And so it was a really steep learning curve. And it has just been such a joy to knit this and get it right the first time. Like, no ripping out has occurred. Oh dear. Knock on wood. No ripping out has occurred yet with this garment. And I'm absolutely thrilled. I know exactly how I want to wear it. And I'm just super excited about it. I can't get over it. Tell me what you think in the comments. Do you think this screams Aomare? Is this the Aomare cardigan? Or are we sticking with Aoin? Because, like, we're ride or die for our girl. Let me know. Let me know in the comments. So, you know what? I'm leaving it on. I'm not going to go through the effort of taking it off for the rest of this podcast. Plus, it's kind of cold. I live in Florida, so that probably sounds ridiculous coming out of my mouth, especially when I know a lot of you are in, like, negative 25 degrees Fahrenheit. But for Florida, it's been on the chilly side. I think it's in the 60s today. Yesterday it was in the 50s, which I'm sure sounds like warmth to everybody else, but for me, I'm a little chilly. So we're gonna leave the cardigan on. It's fine. It'll work. So the second project that I'm working on, I was absolutely 100% knitfluenced by Emily from the Botanical Knitter. I love Emily's podcast. I think I've mentioned it in previous episodes. Emily just has good vibes, and I appreciate it. She's got a personality, but she's not really in your face like some people. And I enjoy listening to her talk about her projects, and she makes me laugh, and she seems like very good people. So Emily was working on her anthology throw over Vlogmas, and I was completely knitfluenced, and which I don't believe was her goal, but it's exactly what happened. And I cast on my own, so here we are. If you're wondering, is this the same color as this? It might be. I'm not entirely sure. So, okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So, here it is. Here's where I'm at. And it's beautiful. This is a beautiful pattern. Seriously, it just is. And Helen Stewart, so this is the Anthology Throw by Helen Stewart. Helen Stewart writes her patterns in a way that makes my brain so happy. So this pattern is essentially one giant progress chart. I love it. I absolutely love it. So walls of text stress me out. So having that as the majority of what I'm looking at is chef's kiss. And it is essentially just a series of stockinette and eyelets. And it's just making me so happy right now. As you can see, I've switched colors. So I just started knitting in this color. Sorry if I'm hitting the microphone. That's my bad, guys. Which I can't tell if this is actually the color I Am No Man. Whatever, it's not important. So, let's talk about the yarn. The yarn I'm using is Baby Cat yarn. Shocker, I know. I had the Heroic palette minis. Britta was very sweet and sent me the entire palette on minis when we were still working on it. And so I was hoarding that. I thought that I would use it as a prize. And then I decided, you know what? This is a palette that Britta and I worked on together. So these minis are really special to me, and I'm going to keep them. So I did. And Britta sent them to me with that full intention of use this to play with some color. And so instead of like donating it as a prize to one of my own make-alongs, I decided to keep it. I also just so happened to have minis of her Earthy palette. Now, for my fellow Lord of the Rings nerds, if Middle Earth was a palette, it would be Britta's Earthy palette. It's just so beautiful. And I decided I'm going to make my anthology throw out of those two palettes. So I gave it something super fancy to live in, because all of these are the minis I'm using. It's an intense amount of minis. And I thought, let's just give him somewhere fancy to live. So I did. And here we are. And yeah, these are the Heroic palette minis and the Earthy palette. I'll drop links to them in the down bar. And I'm trying my best to be chill about this and, just picking out a color and going. Do I strike you as someone who is very good at catching their chill? Because I'm not. I have zero chill. I really do. So I did kind of lay them out and see generally what kind of color scheme I wanted to be going with. And I ended up ordering a couple more like 50-gram minis from Britta. And I ordered a couple, one more gold, a red, and another blue. There's a lot of purple in here, and there's a lot of green in here. Now, I love green. Purple, less so, is not my favorite. I love a good burgundy, and I love a good merlot, right? So those deep red leaning purples. But when you get like purple, I tend to start thinking of Grimace, like from Burger King, and it's not my vibe. So I don't mind working with purple like this. I think this is a great combination. I mean, obviously, purple and gold, they're complementary colors. Of course, it's a great combination. But I grabbed too many at once, and it was like, let's see. It was like these two, and no. Now, don't get me wrong. This would be a great combination if you like the color purple. I do not. So I looked at this and was like, under absolutely no circumstance. So that made me a little anxious. Not really. It just made me, it triggered my inner control freak, and I laid them out a little bit to kind of decide how I was going to go about this. So getting those extra colors, the red, the blue, and the gold, primary colors, totally didn't notice that until after I did it. I think it will break up a lot of these greens and purples. Like, here's two more. I mean, essentially, you can't pick two out of this bowl without getting a purple and green combination. And that was making me a little concerned. These are going to be the next two that I use. So I'll probably go into the orange. Maybe I'll go into the green. We'll see. But Helen's pattern is amazing. This is just, it's potato chip knitting. And you know, I've been working on a lot of seed stitch and cables, so having stockinette and eyelets to do, it's just balancing out my brain in a really great way. And I also love knitting in a circle, which I know, like, my crochet homies out there are probably like, oh yeah, is that fun? Why don't you tell us about it? Because I know crochet is really good for knitting or for creating something circular, but I've never knit in a circle like this before. And so it was just a ton of fun to cast that on. And there's something about this just being a circular shape that is making knitting this throw less miserable, which sounds like it's still miserable. It's not miserable at all. Knitting blankets can be miserable for me, especially corner to corner ones. No, just no. So this has no corners because it's a circle. So it's just excellent. And I'm really enjoying knitting it. So yeah, I was totally knitfluenced in a good way. And I'm really glad that I was. Because this is not a project I'm going to be done with anytime soon. And there's something about that I really love. No pressure. There's no great push, you know, get that FO. Like, no, it's enjoy your knitting. And I'm trying to add more of that into my life because obviously I really want this FO. I have a couple other WIPs that I really want the finished object. And so it's causing me a little bit of, you know, anxiety is a very strong word. It's not causing me anxiety. Like, my mom would call it agita. It's giving me agita. Which is a very, very New York Italian word. It's giving me a little heartburn. That I have so many WIPs. I know my mother's watching this and she's like, oh my God, did she really just say agita? I'm like, yes, I did, Mom. Hello. But it is, like, how many things I have going. Let's put it this way. I've had to buy more cables because I have so many things on the multitude of cables I already own. So I have a lot of knitting to do, which is a good thing. It's a really good thing. And all of my WIPs are finish worthy. None of them are going to get ripped out. But I needed a little bit of that. The goal is not to push through. It's not to get the FO. It's just to enjoy playing with some color. It's to enjoy the process much more than getting the product. And I am squarely in the middle of, are you a process or a product knitter? I need to want the product, but I need to enjoy creating it in order for me to make it. So this satisfies both. And like, it just looks so pretty. It's like a rose window in a cathedral. Like, it really does. And I love it. And of course, Britta's yarn is just so beautiful. And I knew immediately that that's the yarn I wanted to use, not just because I had it, but I essentially wanted to sit down and play with my yarn crayons and just color, like, that's all I wanted to do. I wanted to color with yarn. And that's what Britta's yarn is just so freaking good at. She really is the Sherwin-Williams of yarn. And so having all of these colors to play with, even if it is a little heavy on the purple side, that's my own fault because I put 2 palettes that had a non-trivial amount of purple in them together. This is still not all of them. Like there's just so much yarn in here, and it's just been exactly what I needed, and I'm really enjoying working on it. So it'll be even better when the other minis come and I can break them up into 25 grams each. It'll be great. So those are the 2 projects I've been working on exclusively. I have a lot of other projects going, like my latte cardigan from Kirsten Joel and my Matthew pullover from Amy Shure. I still have those on the needles, but to be totally honest with you, I haven't touched them. And here's the reason why not. It has nothing to do with the pattern, has nothing to do with the yarn. It has to do with the fact that this is seed stitch. And the latte cardigan is essentially seed stitch 1 row, stockinette the next row. So it was a lot on my wrists to be doing both of those. And then where I'm at in the Matthew pullover, I haven't gotten through the ribbing. I'm pretty sure it's 1 by 1 ribbing. That's basically seed stitch. So it's a lot of back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, which on my wrist was too much. And that's why this project has been perfect, because it's just knitting. So it's just the act of knitting. So those projects are still alive. They're still kicking, and they will be done. I just really want this finished first. So those are the 2 projects I've been working on exclusively over the last couple of weeks. I mean, don't get me wrong, I do have knitting plans. Well, that's not even necessarily true. I don't have plans, I have ideas. I haven't turned them into plans yet. I'm not ready to, so I'm not gonna. And so if you're feeling kind of like me, like you just kind of want to slide into the new year and, rest because it's still the dead of winter and planning doesn't feel right to you right now, that's okay. That's your permission slip to just keep on keeping on. And if you are revved up and ready to go and you have your knitting plan, I'm genuinely happy for you. Get that knitting plan. This is not meant to cast shade at anybody or any kind of practice, creative practice. If that's what works for you, then I'm really glad you figured out what works for you. But if it doesn't work for you and you're kind of feeling like me where you want to go a little slower, this is your permission slip to do so. It's okay. I've committed to not making any kind of plans out of my ideas until probably March. I'm going to take January and February to support the person I already am instead of do the whole new year, new you thing. But that's just my vibe. So I think I'm going to end there. I hope you guys are having a great weekend. I hope you are enjoying your knitting, whether you have planned it out or not. And no matter what you knit in 2023, I hope you're proud of it. Even if you're like me and you got to the end of 2023 with 1 sweater and a bucket of WIPs. Be proud of it. What you're creating is art, and you are an artist, and you should be proud. All right, y'all, I will talk to you not next week, but the week after. If you want to hear from me next week, you could always join my YouTube channel. You could join one of the memberships. Members get exclusive video content in the weeks in between my podcasts. They get mini podcast episodes, essentially, and a bunch of other stuff as well, like access to our Discord server. Some tiers have discounts on my patterns, so if you're interested, go check it out. It's a great way to support this channel. Or if you just, want to hang out some more, that's a great way to do it. So maybe I'll see you over there. And if not, I will see you in 2 weeks. Have a great weekend, guys. Bye.